Thank you, Mr Speaker. Earlier today, I announced that I'll be running as an independent at the next state election. And my electors from across the entire community recognise the important role an independent has in holding the government of the day to account. And that is what I've done, and that is what I'll continue to do. So what have we achieved to date as an independent? Well, we've actually saved the Mitcham Service SA Centre after multiple ambiguous announcements from the state government, which created uncertainty around the future delivery of services at the Mitcham location. The electorate came together, fought, rallied, and the government announced and backtracked on their decision to close the centre in my community, but of course also in Prospect and in Modbury as well. We protected our bus services and local public transport, and also back in June 2020 when the state government foolishly announced that it would remove key Blackwood bus services from the electorate, we as a community mobilised, we ran campaigns, we got loud, we got heard, and we defended the right of public bus users in my community. And once again, the government announced that they would no longer pursue these cutbacks to the bus network. We have preserved the historic Waite Gatehouse. And once again, when the state government foolishly announced that it would be demolishing the state heritage-listed gatehouse in late 2020, my office mobilised the community, which resulted in the government backflip on the decision of allocating over $1 million to move, reconstruct and repurpose the building as a community volunteer centre and a museum within the Urbray Historic Precinct. And of course, myself and my office were instrumental in expanding the sports voucher scheme. We successfully lobbied the state government to expand the scheme for not only being accessible for families and primary school-aged students to include families for middle school students from 2022. And right now, and hopefully when all across this House come together to unite on this important one, and that is to expand that sports voucher scheme for Scouts and Girl Guides to be included in the Sports and Recreation Subsidy Program. There is no reason why many scouting families across our state are being denied access to the scheme. And of course, it's not what one just does in this place that is important. It's what one seeks to do and what one will do. And of course, we will continue to fight on many key local community infrastructure fronts. Since the state government scrapped its election promise on Globelink, I've continued to advocate for both rail and road freight to be diverted out of the Adelaide Hills and Mitcham Plains, and very pleased to welcome in the state budget this year the joint state and federal government to deliver a $202 million bypass at Truro, and importantly a $10 million planning study and bypass case for the Greater Adelaide Freight Bypass. We will continue to lobby against plans to increase freight usage on Crossroad in our suburban communities, and I urge the members for Unley, Elder and Badco to join in that fight to ensure that Crossroad does not become a freight corridor. And of course, it's important to defend and look after civil liberties in this place and the strength of our economy. And I think many of constituents in my area are tired of the underperforming of the economy, and of course civil liberties being eroded. As an independent, I would of course always challenge the need for some of the extreme measures that we've seen recently in relation to restrictions and lockdowns, to ensure that we always get that right balance between appropriate health measures and the rights of individuals. And many times in this parliament over my course here, I've expressed the need for sensible economic decisions to ensure that our budget has always the appropriate fiscal management. As outlined in an Auditor General report from 2015, a sensible net debt fiscal target was set at a maximum ratio of 35% to ensure that we are financially responsible and maintain our AAA credit rating. Today, that same measure is running at 129.6%. We always must be mindful of future generations' ability to repay debt. And it is prudent we carefully control our deficit levels in the future and appropriately manage public debt. We have to look after our small business operators. We have to ensure that many people aren't affected by regressive land tax changes, and we must ensure that South Australia keeps its share of GST revenue. I am focused on the real issues for South Australians that need to be addressed. Public schools and hospital funding, ramping, fruit fly outbreak and timber shortages have all been issues I've raised in this place. And of course, since being in this place, I've worked constructively to work for our community to ensure that we have fantastic community centres, well-funded sports grounds, ensuring that our health precincts remain vitally accessible, such as the REPAT, which I've been so keen to see thrive. And of course, it's about listening to what the community needs and wants and how we can best deliver that. And I know that I can do that for my community.